Welcome back for another video. It's the final upload before the deadline. It's the Gameweek 12 episode of the Experts. Despite the very short turnaround, we heard from well over 100 experts again this week. I know you're all watching and thanks for the ongoing contribution. The valuable experts data in this series will guide us all to a better rank, so hit subscribe so you don't miss out. This week we also caught up with one expert who has his wildcard active and he shared his team. More on that later, but let's start off with the manager highlight. Sergster has been dethroned and there's a new name on top, Carl Smith. He's up to 1.2k overall after scoring 53 points in Gameweek 11, 719 total points. He's on a streak of 6 top 100k finishes in a row, including a top 5k finish. I'm sure you won't roll over easy, Sergster, and we'll see you back on top soon. Next up is the transfer activity among the experts, and it's the busiest game week of the season, not a single manager rolling the transfer. 23% are making one transfer, exactly half are making two, 22% are making 3 transfers, and a couple of managers are making 4. There's a couple of wildcards active and a free hit too. In terms of hits, 40% are on a -4, which we can take encouragement from, particularly if you're on the fence about taking a hit yourself. If you're able to make it through this game week without a hit, you're in a particularly good position, as many managers narrowly in front of you will move behind you as soon as the deadline hits, due to the sheer number of hits active this week. 8% of the experts are on a -8 and one manager's on a -12. So in terms of which players the experts are transferring in and out, here's the top transfers. It's Trossard who is the most transferred in player by 27% of the experts. Salah's the second most popular transfer with 23% picking him up for the West Ham game at Anfield. You can see the transfer combinations the experts are making when we look at the most sold players. It's Maddison top with 38% dropping him, De Bruyne sold by 14%. We can also see Kane among the most sold, which is perhaps harsh having returned in every game week since Game Week 2, but with Solanke the third most popular transfer in, many experts are downgrading Kane to free up a spot for Salah. On the subject of Liverpool, Alexander-Arnold, Robertson and Nunez also picked up by the experts this week. As expected, the transfers out are largely dominated by players blanking or injured. A quick look at the chip usage and then we'll take a look at the captaincy in the experts team. 88% have used the wildcard, with 3% on an active wildcard right now. Just 9% have the first wildcard left now. Game Week 13 looks like the best opportunity left to use it. Some have talked about a Game Week 16 wildcard, which essentially would act like a free hit, but you could argue that there's less points to be gained from a 1 week play like that. We caught up with Dan Cross from the experts, who has his wildcard active right now and he shared his team, which is as follows. He's retained Haaland, Martinelli and Cancelo from the Game Week 12 blankers. We asked for his thoughts on the team and he said, "Maybe I'm falling into my Liverpool bias trap again, but with the fixture run to the World Cup, I think a defender is a no-brainer. Robertson was in this draft until I knew Trent was back. His attacking threat is worth the extra 0.5 mil in my opinion, and Tsimikas could always play a couple. Much of the team are fixture plays and could argue that it's fairly template that I'm catching up to. But I like that it's got wiggle room in the way that after Game Week 12 I can't downgrade Justin or Guehi to get an extra 0.4 mil. Salah will be the captain in Game Week 12. I don't see much reason to go different when people will be using hits where I should already have an advantage. You could possibly argue for him in Game Week 14, but Haaland's very hard to look past in all the other weeks up to the World Cup. Thanks for sending in, Dan, and best of luck on the wildcard." Onto the Game Week 12 captaincy before we look at the experts team, and it's impressive how quickly the experts have moved for Salah, with 83% captaining him. He's 35% owned in the wider player base. Kane's in second with 10% of the experts captaining him, and certainly in better form than Salah, has to be said. Trossard has 6% of the vote and Son has 1%. With Haaland out of the equation this week, it's an 11-man game again, so to speak, so there's good ranks to be gained if you know your captaincy this week. Right before we take a look at the experts team, hit like and subscribe if you've enjoyed all the content. 4 videos in 2 days, new record on the channel. So onto the experts team reveal, and this is the aggregated team or their highest owned players, and the team is as follows. It's Pope in goal, a back four of Dunk, Trippier, Doherty and Guehi, with both Dunk and Doherty joining the team this week. The midfield is Salah, Trossard, Zaha and Pereira, with Salah and Trossard joining the team this week. The front two is Mitrovic and Tony, with Cancelo, Haaland and Martinelli on the bench. It's Salah captain and Trossard vice. Each game week we ask the experts to offer their insight for the game week ahead. So many great thoughts from the experts this week. 64 experts sent in their thoughts, which shows you just how engaged this series is, and it's always tough to select which to share with you all. Root Cause says if you can get through the game week with 10 players without taking a hit, I would do it. Only hit to get you to 9 or 10 players. If the situation is worse, then consider using the free hit chip. FPL Fresh Prince says, as hard as it is letting De Bruyne go, it's time to bring Salah back in and take a 1 week punt on Trossard with Maddison's suspension. That spot could easily become Foden the following week. Fredo FPL says, long week, and this is part 2 of 3. We'll judge how it's gone at the end of Game Week 13. Jason Fleming says, it's important to think long term about how your team looks going forward, rather than taking unnecessary hits purely to field an 11 this game week. Quality over quantity is more key. Andrew Debenham says, blanks, rotation, injuries and suspensions. FPL until the World Cup's now a squad game. All 15 players will need to be ready to be called upon in the upcoming week, so ditch the deadwood and use the bench. Rohit says, good to see Haaland finally blanking and players who went against the herd being rewarded for it. The OG FPL King is back. If Salah starts performing now, things could get really interesting and fun every game week with a captaincy decision. Wader says, feels like a game week where big games can be made given the spread of different captains that there's likely to be. Rugster says, time to sort the men from the boys. 11 proper players in this game week without a hit or a chip will pay dividends, especially if also rolling into Game Week 13 to bring in City and Arsenal gems. FPL Ken says, outside of FPL Twitter there will be teams in bad shape, no need to take lots of hits, one is enough if you need. If you've got 8 to 9 players that's enough not to use the free hit chip. Marco agrees and he says, it's all about quality over quantity this week, don't worry if you can't field 11 as long as you have most of the key players covered. Adriel says, oh my god James Maddison, what have you done? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it. 5 videos in 3 days. The deadline is just around the corner now. Remember to hit like on the video if you have found it useful and subscribe if you're new around here. I'll read all your comments, so drop one below. We'll be live later for the deadline stream. See you then.